Hi, my name is Bruce, and I was looking around YouTube the other day and I saw that a lot of people had documented their personal experiences with atrial fibrillation and catheter ablations. So I thought, well, I have a pretty good story. Why not post that one too? It all started when I was on vacation in a hotel room in Manila, Philippines, alone about 13 years ago, when my heart started racing out of control, jumping all around in my chest. It obviously scared the daylights out of me. I tried walking it off in circles around the room, but I think I finally just fell asleep. And the next day I was okay. A few weeks later, I was at my doctor's for something unrelated, and I remember that incident, and I told him. He said that it might be atrial fibrillation, and the next time it happens, get into the emergency room for an EKG. Well, it wasn't too long after that it did happen, so I did go down there, and they immediately told me that it was atrial fibrillation and put me on Coumadin. They called it paroxysmal since it came and went. It would stay for about 24 hours and then go away for a week and then come back again, back and forth. I called it my ugly visitor. None of the pills they gave me helped. It kept coming and going, but as time went on, it was coming more and going less. In those early days, I was very symptomatic. I would get lightheaded, out of breath, have chest discomfort, and also angry and depressed. About 8 years ago, the cardiologist started telling me about the procedure called catheter ablation. As he had to, he always ended by telling me of the risks, and the last thing he always said was that if your esophagus gets burned, you will bleed to death. I couldn't just see ever allowing anybody to put electrodes into my heart and start burning away from the inside. There was no way. I talked to my son, who's a doctor, and he said that I should do it, but give it a few more years while the technology improves and the doctor gets a few hundred more of them under his belt, but do it while I was still young and strong. I did not want to do it, though. The fear was too high. So I learned to live with the AFib. Taking my Coumadin, I traveled, worked, and got on with my life. As the episodes became ever more frequent and of longer duration, I became much less symptomatic. About 4 years ago, they started calling it persistent AFib. I could hardly tell that I had it until I felt my pulse and the totally random irregular heartbeat that I was having. The fact that I was becoming non-symptomatic, it seems to me is a very bad thing. It meant that my body was getting used to the AFib, that this was the new normal, and that the faulty electrical pathways in my heart were getting stronger, taking over, and the good pathways were disappearing. So I lost about 100 pounds. I thought that was the answer. And the AFib diminished a bit, but then it came back even stronger, becoming permanent in about May of 2011. The doctor kept reminding me of the option of ablation, and always reminding me at the end of my tender esophagus. After being in permanent AFib for about a year, I was sure I was a hopeless case. But I surrendered to the fear and gave the go-ahead. It took about 3 months to get the operation calendared, scheduled for October 22nd, 2012. 13 years of the disease and a year and a half in permanent AFib. I worked hard to keep in hopeful, positive spirits, figuring that that would bring positive results and keep away the fear. A week before the operation, they took me off the Coumadin and had me inject myself with Lovenox twice a day for anticoagulation. On the 22nd, I showed up ready to bring it on. They prepped me, shaved my chest and groin, and put me on a gurney, started an IV, and rolled me into the electrophysiology operating suite. I was amazed to see all the big monitors and all the people involved. My doctor showed up, dressed in operating scrubs. There was a second cardiologist, an anesthesiologist, 2 nurse surgical assistants, and a couple of people watching through a window from an observation area, monitoring all of the monitors. Everybody was in a good mood and joking around, and so was I. It was 8 a.m. The anesthesiologist said he was going to give me something to make me relax a bit. Then I woke up. My doctor said I was in sinus rhythm. Yay, the first time in a year and a half. The clock said 2 p.m. I was taken to my room, given some water and yogurt, and rested. The rhythm was sinus rhythm, but it wasn't perfect. There were a few bumps and gaps every so often. They said it was normal while the heart healed. After about 4 hours, they wanted me to stand up and take a walk. As I got up, blood started pouring out of the artery from the puncture spot in the right groin and spilling onto the floor. The nurse said, "Uh-oh, this is not good." But she performed perfectly, laying me down on the bed with a bit of a push, quite a bit of a push, actually, and putting pressure on the opening with her right elbow and using the intercom with her left hand calling for assistance. They came and repacked the wound and put a sandbag weight on it for another 6 hours until it had finally closed, and I took my walk. The next morning I woke up and I was in AFib again. The doctor said that this was normal, and for the first few weeks while my heart healed, it might go in and out. I did feel some chest discomfort the second day, an actual burning feeling in my heart, but not that bad, and it only lasted for 1 day. At home, in and out of AFib was exactly what happened. I kept records, and it was 50-50 between AFib and sinus rhythm. As time went on, it didn't improve. That became my pattern. 50% was better than permanent AFib, but not the results I had dared to dream of. My doctor said that often a second ablation is indicated to finish the job. But I figured that since my case was pretty advanced when I had the first ablation, that I was a hopeless case. I had put back a good portion of the weight that I had previously lost just out of frustration and low physical and mental energy. He recommended taking an aggressive stand against it and having a second ablation at the 6-month mark. It really took me 6 months to fully recover my strength after the ablation, to get back to 100% energy. At that point, I was resigned to do whatever, so I gave my okay, and another ablation was scheduled for May 6, 2013. Again, a week before the procedure, I started giving myself the Lovenox injections. On the 6th, I showed up, this time without much hope or enthusiasm, but willing to take the aggressive stand. The second ablation seemed easy and a breeze compared to the first one. I was soon home, felt the burning sensation the next day, and in a day or two, back into atrial fibrillation. Again, in and out pattern, and a big depression set in. I had gone through all that for nothing, weakened and thoroughly defeated. Truly a hopeless case, as I had suspected all along. On day 19 after my second ablation, May 25th, 2013, at about 3 p.m., after 2 days of AFib, I went into sinus rhythm. After about 12 days of being in sinus rhythm, I started thinking, hey, this seems different. Hey, this is all right. On the 19th day of consecutive sinus rhythm, I called the doctor and told him the news. He said, let's keep our fingers crossed. On day 60, he took me off of Coumadin and said, just take an aspirin instead. Today is August 24th, day 90. 90 days of solid sinus rhythm without a bump or gap. I have been through normal life stresses during this time, such as relationship stuff, kid stuff, including my son's wedding and other ups and downs. I stay away from triggers such as caffeine, alcohol, loud noise, fatty food, and stress as much as possible. I am still regaining my strength, and I suspect it will be 6 months again before I'm fully 100%. I work out moderately 4 days per week at the gym, and am increasing the level of my workout slowly but surely, and my heart seems to like it. I'm beginning to lose the weight that I had regained during the ablation year, and I am optimistic of obtaining long-term sinus rhythm and a new start and a better quality of life. I will keep you updated. I want to thank Kaiser, Dr. Liu, and the staff at Scripps Memorial Hospital in La Jolla. What they did for me is amazing science and skill. For those of you considering catheter ablations, I offer the following observations. Try to have the ablation earlier before it progresses and the bad pathways have the time to get stronger. Be prepared to have to repeat the procedure. It could well be a 2-stage operation. The technology and skills of the electrophysiologists have grown to make catheter ablation safe and effective. And face your fears and just do it. Even if you consider yourself a hopeless case, it is possible to be cured of atrial fibrillation. Good luck.